Liam Paro is back with an absolute destruction win over Navarro today in Australia. And yes, fantastic performance from Liam Paro. He's back after that loss to Richardson Hitchens, where he just didn't look good in that fight at all, to be honest, against Hitchens. You know, he looked fantastic against Mateus, awful against Hitchens, but showed his actual level today against Navarro, which is good and is what he had to do. Another knockout for Liam Paro. That's what we wanted to see. That bounce of Liam Paro, it's unreal, to be honest. He's got that Alexander Usyk bounce in his game, to be honest with you. Quick as, couldn't miss with that left hand today. It was a fantastic performance by Liam Paro. I mean, look, it always should have been like that. You know, it's not something that, I'm really surprised about, because that is what he should have done. And that is what he did in the end, to be honest with you. And I'm very happy with that. You know, Navarro was always going to be levels below Liam Paro, and that showed in that fight today. You know, Navarro was levels below him, and Liam Paro, you know, punished him brutally and showed a different level in that fight. And I feel like it was a very good homecoming for Liam Paro as well, to come back after a loss, have a good homecoming win, and there we go. It's now all back on track for Liam Paro, and it's going to be really interesting to see what's next. And if I'm being real, I feel like the George Kambosos fight has got to happen next for Liam Paro. You know, apparently Kambosos isn't retiring, and, you know, he's too young to retire as well. So I think make that fight in Australia, possibly Liam Paro, George Kambosos. You know, then if Paro wins that, he can try and get a world title shot again, because I don't think winning that against Navarro gets him into a world title fight, but for sure gets him another big fight, and that is a big fight in Australia, which you never know, could sell out a stadium over in Australia. You know, it's or a fairly big enough arena. It's a big fight, in my opinion, for boxing, and especially Australian boxing. It's a big fight over there. So I feel like that's a fight that's got to be made next. Liam Paro, George Kambosos Jr. Get that fight going. And, you know, look, Paro looked really, really loose today. He looked really loose. He looked stiff in that Richardson Hitchens fight and just couldn't get his groove going at all. But he looked on his game today, and the IQ was just, it was showing of Liam Paro throughout the fight. His boxing IQ, it was showing throughout. He couldn't miss with the backhand, the bounce, the domination, the feints with that lead hand of his. It was proper domination. And that is what had to happen. And he's back with a bang. He's mixing up his shots well. Liam Paro throwing all different kind of combinations. He is a world-class fighter, and he's very good. He's a master, in my opinion, at managing the range. He is. I mean, you know, when he came up against someone like Hitchens, it wasn't able to work. But really, I'd want to see them in a rematch. I'd want to see Paro and Hitchens rematch eventually down the line. As I said, if Paro can beat Kambosos, which I believe he would do if they were to fight, then I feel like that's when Paro can possibly go back for a Hitchens fight. But, you know, he's shown his worth. He's beaten many top-level fighters. And, you know, look, he was always meant to be levels above Navarro. Navarro's not a bad name to have on the resume, but he's not exactly a special name to have on the resume. But it's a good name, and it's and, you know, it was a good, impressive performance by Liam Paro today, in my opinion, where that win's really going to get in places, and now there's going to be a lot of more attention around the name of Liam Paro, which is what he had to get, because ever since that loss to Richardson Hitchens, I know I keep on talking about that, but ever since that loss for Liam Paro, everyone kind of went a little bit quiet about him. And I don't think there were many people talking about the homecoming of Liam Paro outside of Australia. But now, you know, that performance of Paro is going to go viral. It's going to be out there around the boxing world. And now people are going to be taking Liam Paro seriously again after winning that fight, and in the manner that he was able to win in. So that was a really important fight for Liam Paro. It was a really important fight for him. And, you know, he ended up passing it and winning it with flying colours, to be fair. So fair play to him on that one. I mean, look, there's other fights out there if it's not the George Kambosos fight, but that's the ideal fight, though, isn't it? You know, we look at the IBF rankings here. You've got Kambosos at number 3, Paro number 4. Make that fight. Get that going. You know, after Hitchens beat Kambosos, I feel like that's the only other big fight now for Kambosos, and that's the Liam Paro fight. I can't think of any other fight which would be good for George Kambosos. I mean, there are lots of options for Liam Paro, but I feel like money-wise, legacy-wise, a big fight in Australia where, it's probably right now the biggest fight in Australian boxing and could be one of the biggest ever fights in Australian boxing, to be honest with you. These two are real popular names over there who can sell out arenas, can sell pay-per-views over there and get attention. But, look, that's the fight that I feel like Liam Paro will want to go for. I feel like Eddie Hearn needs to be right on that one straight away, make it happen. If not for Liam Paro, though, and it's not Kambosos, I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Dalton Smith over in England. If Dalton Smith can't get a title shot next, I mean, he needs a title shot, but if not, give him to Liam Paro. I wouldn't mind seeing Liam Paro versus, Jermaine Ortiz fight or an Oscar Duarte. I wouldn't mind seeing those fights, or a Liam Paro Adam fight. They are fights that are good, that could be good to be made. But really, it's got to be Liam Paro versus Kambosos. That's the only one that I've named, which is really going to stand out to a lot of people, in my opinion. So, yeah, Liam Paro versus George Kambosos must happen next. But Liam Paro is back,